Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say
All right,
it.
ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Caiden Cowger program, broadcasting from West Virginia. It is great to have you with us. So, Justice Scalia passed away on Saturday, and we talked a lot about it yesterday, and, you know, it's really just heartbreaking to hear. And as more information comes out, guys, I've got to say, the more suspicious I am, and I don't get suspicious about things too often. When it comes to conspiratorial-like stuff, I just don't go for it. I think it's all stupid. In a lot of cases, I think it's just a way for people to rack up the ratings and, you know, jack them up there when they want them, because then they get all the nuts listening into them, so thinking, okay, well, there's something always fishy going on. Always suspect that something is not what the government says it is. Well, and see, here's the thing with this Justice Scalia situation, and why I am so concerned in this particular incident. Justice Scalia, and this is what it was reported, Justice Scalia was found in the bedroom with all of his, bedclothes on and everything. And he had a pillow over his head. And that's what was reported. There's a pillow over his head. And on top of all that, the bed sheets were not wrinkled. The bedding was not wrinkled whatsoever. Now, normally when you sleep in a bed, there's going to be some wrinkled sheets. I mean, that you move around and stuff, it's going to be wrinkled a little bit. And see, the placement, how they said that the body was, where he was laying on his back, the pillow was over his head, and his hands were on top of each other, just like he was sleeping peacefully. It almost sounds like it was too perfect. And when it's perfect like that, that is speculation for possible, possible foul play here. Murder, let's just say it like it is. And the way, and see, that if there was a professional medical examiner that, checked everything thoroughly, I wouldn't be as concerned. But the way that they made it out anyway, told the press, sounds to me like there was foul play that could have been involved when they make statements like, well, is declared dead over the phone and stuff like that, where the medical examiner really wasn't it took him a whole several hours to get there. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of confusion to it. There's not one story as to what happened. And there's so much confusion like I've never even seen before. And we'll just start from the beginning, okay? Because we'll just go from the beginning and work our way through it. That way we can, try to at least make some sense of all this. From what I was reading here, there's a website called DC Whispers, and I'm very, very hesitant in going to sites that that aren't mainstream when it comes to stuff like this, because you can start getting into conspiratorial garbage. But from what this website reported here, the things that I can verify is that this guy was a Democratic Party donor. The guy who owned the ranch, Mr. Let me get you his name here. It was Poindexter. John Poindexter was his name. He was a Texas millionaire businessman, and he was also a donor to the Democratic Party. And to make everything even more suspicious, the guy was awarded by President Barack Obama related to his military service in Vietnam. So he's a Democrat donor. He's not only a Democrat, he's a donor to the Democratic Party, and was awarded by President Obama. Poindexter is the owner of the Creek Ranch, or is it Cibolo Creek Ranch, something like that. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia was found dead at earlier this week. It goes on to report that Poindexter, who reportedly was among those who initially discovered the justice's body, which is correct, and who then coordinated with local officials to have Justice Scalia declared dead via phone conversation with the area medical examiner. So yes, that is correct. And that's what I thought, because I've been reading this in article after article. So everything that I've read so far has been verified. Poindexter had Justice Scalia declared dead via a phone conversation through a conversation with the medical examiner. So the medical examiner wasn't even there. He was just verified, yeah, Scalia's dead, through a phone conversation with the guy, whoever it was, the medical examiner, who were notably slow to arrive on the scene. So eventually, they ended up getting there. To date, there is said to have been no request for an autopsy, even though initial reports suggest that the Supreme Court justice was found with a pillow over his head and had died alone in his room without any apparent witnesses. Scalia was described as having been in good spirits in the hours prior to his death. So no autopsy is being done. No autopsy. From the reports that we have been hearing, where the family is saying, no, we don't want an autopsy, we don't want one done, that doesn't make any difference, because when you have suspicious evidence like this that's being brought forth, it turns into an investigative possible homicide case. Okay, now, it sounds to me personally like this entire thing was just absolutely botched. The investigation, the pronunciation of being dead, of being deceased, it sounds very, very suspicious. And can we honestly not say that Scalia did not have reason to be killed, there weren't any motives as to what could have resulted in the homicide of Justice Antonin Scalia, if in fact it was a homicide? There were definitely motives. I mean, guys, what better opportunity to get Scalia out of there than right now, when President Obama is just about ready to toss over the presidential office, the Oval Office, give it to the next guy that comes on, or girl, Lord forbid Hillary Clinton gets it. But, I mean, what better opportunity to try to damage the Republican Party than taking out one of their conservative justices, the most conservative justice on the court, one of the most outspoken conservative justices on the court. And, guys, I mean, like I said, I'm not one for conspiracy. I don't agree with this conspiracy garbage, but just the way that this entire thing was handled was very unprofessional. And it does cause you to question, was there foul play that was involved? That you have to ask the question. He had a pillow over his head, a Democratic donor, a guy who has received medals from President Obama, is the one who discovered him alone at his ranch. Scalia was described to be in good spirits hours prior to his death. I mean, it is quite riveting. It's very, very suspicious, and there's a lot of confusion surrounding this entire thing, because that it goes from being a conspiratorial issue, because when you see it on like Infowars.com and you see it on all these various conspiratorial websites, it goes from being a conspiratorial issue like that to making mainstream news, where Washington Post, Washington Times, Breitbart, all reporting that, there's a lot of confusion regarding this entire thing. The Daily Mail over in the UK reporting there's confusion regarding the case. It is very, very confusing. It goes from being a conspiracy theory to being probable, to being a possibility, to exceeding conspiracy theory to a possible probable theory. And, guys, it's really just, I don't feel good about it. I personally just do not. And another thing that we have here where he recalled Scalia's death, this is Poindexter. He recalled Antonin Scalia's death. And once again, he said that there was a pillow that was found over his head. And let's see. Here we go. It says that a pillow was over his head. His bedclothes were unwrinkled. We discovered the judge in bed, a pillow over his head. Pillow over his head. His bedclothes were unwrinkled. This is what Poindexter said. Now, guys, they said that he decided to go to bed. Wasn't feeling well and all this other stuff. So he said he's tired, okay? He went to bed. And then next thing you know, here he's perfectly laying in bed, hands plopped on top of each other, no wrinkles in the bed sheets, no wrinkles in the bedding, and there's a pillow over his head. Does that not sound suspicious to anybody? I mean, really, does it not? Because I have to admit, it does sound that way to me. And to say that there's not going to be any investigation that's taking place into this, and of course you know there isn't going to be one from the Justice Department. It's controlled by President Obama. He was out golfing when Scalia was pronounced dead. He went golfing. And then on top of all that, when he decides to release a statement on Scalia's death, President Obama doesn't even have the decency to put on a tie. Just appears right there on TV, no tie, no nothing. Just has his shirt unbuttoned there at the top. Doesn't have the decency and the respect for Scalia to put a tie on. And that is a symbol of disrespect when you dress casually to do a press conference. I mean, it's really just absolutely pathetic. And, guys, I tell you, it's quite fascinating that we're not seeing any investigation taking place here. And then we get to how this matter was conducted by the local authorities. Well, it was so far out there, it took them forever to get out there. So that time, if there was a murder there, he's long gone. Or it's someone in the house, because who would be suspicious? Who would be a suspect? Just, I don't know, maybe a Democratic donor who was given medals by Obama. I mean, that's a good place to start. Why would a Democrat have any reason to take out Scalia? Ask yourself that question. It shouldn't be that hard to come up with an answer. But I'm just saying, these are suspects that should be investigated. And, considering how the medical examiner botched up the entire thing, first it's a heart attack, then it's not a heart attack, it's just a natural cause. Well, how do they know if it's a natural cause if they really didn't do that good of an examination? And, guys, we're not done with this yet. I mean, there's quite a lot of other evidence that we have out there, or that people are bringing up and that people are questioning, because there really hasn't been all that much transparency on his death. That's why we're hearing this mainstream. That's why we're hearing Scalia's death. That's why we're hearing skeptics out there that this was the result of natural cause in the mainstream media. It's because this is legitimate confusion. This is legitimate, just really, we don't know what happened. We don't know anything about it other than his body was perfectly placed, or was perfectly, really was just, well, how could I put it? He's just perfectly laying down there with his hands on top of each other and a pillow over his head, and the bedding isn't messed up. I mean, how in the world can you say that does not sound suspicious? It sounds like, to me, I mean, if you really want to get into the psychological thing of it, if Scalia, let's say he was murdered. If Scalia was murdered, that would show that there are signs of remorse. If he was murdered and he was suffocated, when the hands are plopped up on top of each other, there's no wrinkling in the bed sheets, it would be a sign of remorse, to where, because when they place the body like that and they don't just leave it like whatever, a lot of times it's because they're remorseful. Or if it's not that type of murder and it's meant to be professional, I mean, I guess just a perfect placement. But, I really just don't know. I don't think there's a thorough investigation on that. And you would think that there would be with the Supreme Court's death, with a Supreme Court justice's death. But just hearing how this entire thing was conducted, it really just did not sound like it was thorough. We're not talking about an average person here. We are talking about a government official. We are talking about a Supreme Court justice. But because we have a liberal in office, because we have one of the biggest crooks, one of the biggest liberals serving in the presidency, we're not asking questions. We're not going to say anything. We're just going to deal with it. Oh, well, Scalia was 79. He had a good life. Who cares? Doesn't really make a difference anymore. I'm very uncomfortable with that. I really am.
Fighting liberalism one lie at a time.
You're listening to the new WXMB 101.5 FM.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
JP Morgan is now holding a record 55 million ounces of silver. Goldman Sachs and HSBC recently purchased 7.1 tons of physical gold. What do these bankers and mega money managers know that you don't? They're expecting another financial crisis, and over time, they're expecting the value of gold and silver to increase. Silver is trading below its production costs and is predicted to double by 2020. That's why you need our friends at Capital Gold Group. Capital Gold Group offers gold and silver for direct delivery and will not be undersold. If you find a better rate, they will easily match it just for you. Plus, their specialty is precious metals IRA rollovers for the ultimate in IRA security. Be one of the first 20 callers today to receive their free definitive gold guide, plus their exclusive A Sterling Time to Be Buying Silver report. They have an A-plus rating with a Better Business Bureau, so call the experts at Capital Gold Group now and see what investing in gold and silver can do for you. Call now. Call 1-800-932-4108. That is 1-800-932-4108. That is 1-800-932-4108. Once again, that is 1-800-932-4108.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Paraswabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is John Greenhut, the CEO of Paraswabs. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Paraswabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Paraswabs risk-free, call 1-800-678-4817. That's 1-800-678-4817. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-678-4817. That's 1-800-678-4817.
Have you ever had this brilliant idea for an invention? I mean, you think that if this idea, if this invention actually gets out in production and is able to be marketed and everything, this will make you millions and millions of dollars. So people have ideas like this all the time. But the problem that they run into is actually getting it out in production and getting it in the stores. Well, let me tell you about my friends at InventHelp. InventHelp has been helping inventors for over 30 years. And what they do is they package inventors' ideas, they provide a patent referral, and then they submit the idea to companies that want to receive new ideas. And some of their clients have included Lowe's, Toys R Us, Home Depot, Target, and Walmart, just to name a few. Their number is 1-800-352-1597. That's 1-800-352-1597. That's 1-800-352-1597. InventHelp is a proud sponsor of the Caiden Cowger program. Have you ever been involved in an auto accident or had to get your car repaired and then got an expensive bill? For example, you're driving home on a shopping trip you didn't want to go on in the first place, and the next thing you know, traveling at just 65 miles per hour, a stupid deer jumps right out in front of you and whack, hits you right in the front of the car. Yeah, sorry, I had a flashback. Well, let me tell you about our sponsor, Maximum Car Care. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, American Auto Protection has announced a revolutionary low-cost extended service plan that is now available to the general public to save customers thousands of dollars on auto repairs. They can be reached at 1-800-824-9762. That is 1-800-824-9762. 9762. That's 1-800-824-9762. Do your teeth ever get stained from drinking a lot of coffee or tea? And then when that happens, you have to make an appointment, you have to go to the dentist, and then they scrape half your gum out along with the plaque. It's horrible. Well, let me tell you about our friends at Paraswabs. Paraswabs is the 5-minute solution to get teeth white without visiting the dentist. Teeth that are stained from coffee or tea will be 2 shades whiter with just one Paraswabs treatment. Paraswabs is clinically proven to whiten teeth as well as caps. They can be reached by calling 1-800-678-4817. That is 1-800-678-4817. That is 1-800-678-4817. 4817. That is 1-800-678-4817.
You're listening to Caiden Cowger on 101.5 WXMB, Myrtle Beach.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Caiden Cowger program. It's great to have you with us. So moving on here, this is from thedailymail.com. And I already know that a lot of people, they think that this is not, there isn't anything to it. Scalia was 79, he just died, there wasn't a murder or anything that took place. And I'm not saying that there was a murder, because I don't know for sure. I don't know all the evidence. And that's the problem. No one knows anything, it seems. Not even the investigators. No one knows anything. No one knows how he died. That's why I'm asking questions. No one seems to know a thing other than he allegedly died of natural causes because he's 79 years old and he was found dead on a bed. And because he was 79, the guy was old, so he must have died of natural causes. That's really what it's coming down to here. It's not really all this, is a natural causes thing. It sounds more like a justification for euthanasia. Oh, because he's old, it's natural. I mean, that's really just what it seriously sounds like to me. And with all these unanswered questions, without any transparency that we're hearing here, and it sounds like the people who were involved in this investigation don't even know what's going on. That's really what is concerning to me. That's why I'm asking questions. That's why I'm asking, was Justice Scalia murdered? But anyway, listen to the Daily Mail. Former D.C. homicide commander believes that there's something fishy about the circumstances surrounding Justice Scalia's death. William O'Ritchie, the former head of criminal investigations for the Capitol's police department, questioned the way that local authorities handled the 79-year-old's passing at a ranch over the weekend. I believe it's Presidio County Judge Cinderella. Yeah, is it Cinderella? I guess it's Cinderella Guevara. Sounds like a fairy tale. Judge Cinderella Guevara announced the veteran jurist died of natural causes without seeing the body and without ordering an autopsy. I'm going to read this for you again. This is from the Daily Mail. One more time, from the Daily Mail over in the UK, reporting on this story. Well, the judge, the Presidio County Judge, Cinderella Guevara, announced the veteran jurist died of natural causes without seeing the body and without ordering an autopsy. So how exactly did she know that it was of natural causes? You always do an autopsy when there's a situation like that. As a matter of fact, I believe it's also Texas law that there's supposed to be an autopsy that is conducted. And if the family says, well, we really just don't want an autopsy, that's not an excuse. When there's a suspicious situation like that, and it could very well be a homicide, who cares what the family says? Okay, it is then given to the state. Because when there's a potential homicide there, I mean, the family, sorry, I understand you want closure and everything, but I don't know, you just don't, you have to follow the law. And the law was not in place here. But anyway, and a lot of people are demanding an autopsy now. But anyway, so she didn't even see the body. She didn't even order an autopsy. However, Cinderella Guevara, the Presidio County judge, said that he died of natural causes. Scalia's personal doctor, Brian Mahan, has revealed that he had a history of heart problems, high blood pressure, and had been too weak to undergo a recent surgery. So we do have word that there was health problems going on with him, possibly. Now, there have been other people who have said that, well, the doctor just, not long ago said that he was in fine health. So we're getting conflicting reports here, so who knows what to believe, okay? And that's the thing, it's not sorted out. But it didn't stop a fury of conspiracy theories about what had happened, including a scathing account by Ritchie. According to the Washington Post, he wrote, you have a Supreme Court justice who died not in attendance of a physician. You have a non-homicide trained U.S. Marshal tell the Justice of Peace that no foul play was observed. So you have a non-homicide trained. This Marshal, U.S. Marshal, was not trained in homicide. Okay, so he had no experience regarding, murder investigations, regarding homicides. A non-homicide trained U.S. Marshal tell the Justice of Peace, which is basically, a dipstick that is given the title Justice of the Peace, that no foul play was observed. You have a Justice of the Peace pronounce death while not being on the scene and without any medical training, without any medical training, opining that the justice died of a heart attack. What medical proof exists of a myocardial infraction? Why not a cerebral hemorrhage? He also raised concerns about the actions of the U.S. Marshal who called Rivera to report the judge's death. How can the Marshal say without a thorough post-mortem that he was not injected with an illegal substance that would stimulate a heart attack, he added. Did the U.S. Marshal check for I believe it's pronounced fatecnical or fatinal, I forget how to pronounce it, I'm sorry, hemorrhage in the eyes? And that's a good question. Did they check for hemorrhaging around the eyes? Because that would indicate that there would have been suggested suffocation, or around the under the lips is what it says here. Under the hemorrhage under the eyes or under the lips, that would have suggested suffocation. Because that's, with a pillow being found over the head, that's a good question, is it not? Wouldn't that be the smart thing to do? Check and see if there was suffocation. And when the guy doesn't have any training on homicides, how can he honestly come to that conclusion? Did the U.S. Marshal smell his breath for any unusual odor that might suggest poisoning? My gut tells me that there is something fishy going on in Texas. A spokesman for the Marshal Service told the Washington Post the officer did not give a determination of death. Monahan would not comment on the circumstances surrounding his patient's death because of confidentiality. Right, you have HIPAA. The 79-year-old who sat on the Supreme Court bench for 20 years was found dead at a ranch in Texas during a retreat with friends and admirers. So that's what the story says here on the Daily Mail. So those are good questions that are raised here. Did they check for all that? Did they check for hemorrhaging under the eyes? Did they check for hemorrhaging under the mouth? Because, when you do not have any medical experience whatsoever, when you do not have any homicide experience, how do you know what to look for? When you don't have any training. Guys, there's just a lot of questions surrounding this entire thing, like I said. I don't know. I just don't like the way that this thing sounds. And on top of that, judge said that she changed her mind on autopsy and decided it wasn't needed. This is from KSL. So she was going to do the autopsy, but then decided, maybe not. The Mafara, Texas is from Associated Press. A Texas judge says she initially determined that an autopsy should be conducted on Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, but Judge Cinderella Guevara says that she changed her mind after speaking with Scalia's doctor, who confirmed that the justice had a history of heart trouble and other illnesses. The judge says that medical history and a lack of any signs of foul play, foul play like a pillow being found over your head, your hands being perfectly placed on top of each other, and no wrinkled in the bed sheets. Nothing suspicious like that. No. And without there being any signs of foul play, meant the justice likely died of natural causes and that no autopsy would be necessary. Scalia was found dead in his room at a West Texas resort ranch Saturday morning. He was 79. A manager at a Texas funeral home says that Scalia's family didn't think that a private autopsy was necessary and requested that his remains be returned to Washington as soon as possible. The owner of the ranch near Mafara, where Scalia died, said the justice seemed his usual self at dinner the night before. He was found in complete response. Poindexter told reporters.
Some say he's the next Rush Limbaugh.
I tell you, this kid's got 90% of Rush's venom with only 10% of the biomass.
You're listening to Caiden Cowger on 101.5 WXMB Myrtle Beach.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-678-4817. That's 1-800-678-4817. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-678-4817. That's 1-800-678-4817.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-824-9762. Again, 800-824-9762. That's 800-824-9762. 800-824-9762.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, franzblack.com. F-R-A-N-Z black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
Have you ever been involved in an auto accident or had to get your car repaired and then got an expensive bill? For example, you're driving home on a shopping trip you didn't want to go on in the first place, and the next thing you know, traveling at just 65 miles per hour, a stupid deer jumps right out in front of you and whack, hits you right in the front of the car. Yeah, sorry, I had a flashback. Well, let me tell you about our sponsor, Maximum Car Care. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, American Auto Protection has announced a revolutionary low-cost extended service plan that is now available to the general public to save customers thousands of dollars on auto repairs. They can be reached at 1-800-824-9762. That is 1-800-824-9762. That's 1-800-824-9762. Have you ever had this brilliant idea for an invention? I mean, you think that if this invention actually gets out in production and is able to be marketed and everything, this will make you millions and millions of dollars. So people have ideas like this all the time. But the problem that they run into is actually getting it out in production and getting it in the stores. Well, let me tell you about my friends at InventHelp. InventHelp has been helping inventors for over 30 years. And what they do is they package inventors' ideas, they provide a patent referral, and then they submit the idea to companies that want to receive new ideas. And some of their clients have included Lowe's, Toys R Us, Home Depot, Target, and Walmart, just to name a few. Their number is 1-800-352-1597. That's 1-800-352-1597. That's 1-800-352-1597. 1597. InventHelp is a proud sponsor of the Caiden Cowger program. Do your teeth ever get stained from drinking a lot of coffee or tea? And then when that happens, you have to make an appointment, you have to go to the dentist, and then they scrape half your gum out along with the plaque. It's horrible. Well, let me tell you about our friends at Power Swabs. Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get teeth white without visiting the dentist. Teeth that are stained from coffee or tea will be 2 shades whiter with just one Power Swabs treatment. Power Swabs is clinically proven to whiten teeth as well as caps. They can be reached by calling 1-800-678-4817. That is 1-800-678-4817. 1-800-678-4817. That is 1-800-678-4817. That is 1-800-678-4817.
You're listening to WXMB, the Myrtle Beach home for Caiden Cowger.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had
All right,
to
ladies and
say
gentlemen, welcome back to the Caiden Cowger program. Great to have you with us. So, as you can tell, nothing suspicious here at all. Nothing at all suspicious. Move on, nothing to say. You know, guys, to make this matter even worse, so we have a report here that the judge was going to do an autopsy, then decided not to do an autopsy, said it wasn't needed. Contacted the doctor because he had some health problems. It's natural causes, without any inspection of the body, not, considering that this guy was a Supreme Court justice and seemed perfectly fine as his usual self that morning. I tell you, I don't know what's going on. He went to bed at about 9 o'clock from what I read somewhere. So he was tired, so he went to bed. I tell you, it really just does not sound right. But moving on here, to make matters even worse. So this is from Gawker. You've got to be careful what you read on here. But from Gawker, there's there's some type of thing that's coming up here where there's possibly in his will he requested cremation. I hope not, because then that means that there's definitely not going to be an autopsy, and there's because once they cremate a body, it's done, it's over. But so that's what could also be up here. So there's not going to be an autopsy because see, that's the thing. If this is true and the family is saying no, we don't want an autopsy to be conducted, then I can understand. Why wouldn't you want an autopsy conducted? Oh, we know what caused it. Why don't you look into it? Why don't you just be safe than sorry? Because and this is the thing that I can understand not wanting your loved one cut into, but if you don't want them cut into, then, embalming probably isn't a good thing either for you. But if you're going to cremate them, then why not? Why not do an autopsy? Why not have ordered an autopsy? It doesn't really make any sense, but that's what we're dealing with here. So that's from Gawker. But another thing that we have here is that from the New York Magazine, the exact cause of Scalia's death is still unclear. The world might never know how exactly or what killed U.S. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, who died at a luxury ranch in West Texas on Saturday. Presidio County Judge Cinderella Guevara, a local justice of the peace, told the Associated Press that she declared the 79-year-old dead of natural causes without seeing the body herself, having consulted with Scalia's personal physician and sheriff investigators who said there were no signs of foul play. And these were... What? So now we're hearing it's sheriff investigators, or is it U.S. Marshals? Because from the other report that we had from U.S. Daily Mail, we're being told, or was it both? We have U.S. Marshals that had no experience on, regarding homicides. This was a this was a very small area, so do they really know what to look for? I don't know. It's, this entire thing, guys, I'm telling you, it really, really does not sound good. It does not sound like this was handled properly. It sounds more like this was handled by some low-class police force. It's... Oh my gosh. Okay. Listen to this. All right, let me tell you the population of Mafara. Mafara is the county seat of Presidio County. Its population of 2010 was 1,981. My hometown, Buchanan, West Virginia, is a population of about 8,000. We're a small town. That is 1/8 the size of ours. Almost. It's. Can you believe this? It's probably it's about 1/8 because we're a little bit over 8,000, I think. Guys, I'm telling you, this really it's a small police force. It's a low-class police force that did this investigation, that went in there and asked, hey, is Scalia, oh, what do we look for? Okay, yeah, I don't see anything suspicious. He's just laying there perfectly still. This is a small police, this is not a homicide investigative team here. This is a small little hometown Barney Fife police force that we're dealing with. Because when the county seat only has 1,819 people, you're dealing with a very super small town. I mean, oh my gosh, I tell you, this is unbelievable. It really is. Go look up pictures of it. Go look up pictures of Mafara, Texas, and how small the thing is. It's nowhere. It's nothing. It looks like they have a population of 2 nuts and a squirrel. I mean, it's really just, it's horrible. And this is the police force that conducted the investigation on one of the best Supreme Court justices in the history of the United States. That's who we're trusting with our investigative research on homicides. And the reason why has it ever occurred to anybody that the reason why the family possibly did not want an autopsy done was because they thought that, well, if the justice of the peace, if the judge up there isn't going to have a homicide conducted, have an autopsy conducted, then there isn't any reason to really just to have one, period. There's no reason to even try. There's no reason to get a private one. It's very, very concerning to me. I mean, the more I find out about this, the more uncomfortable it makes me. Hearing that it's a Barney Fife Sheriff's Department that investigated this entire thing with the county seat has a population. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read this for you. The county seat has a population of 1,819 people. Now, in a population of 1,819 people, do you honestly think that they get many homicides out there? Do you honestly think that they know what to look for? When you have a U.S. Marshal that decides to investigate this scene, and he's not even trained on homicide. He's a non-trained homicide marshal. Okay, U.S. Marshal. That's the best I can describe it. Never trained on homicides. And he investigates this case. Does that not sound suspicious to anybody? I mean, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to find a problem with what was conducted here. And there needs to be a better investigation. But like I said, you're not going to see anything come out of the Justice Department on this. They're having shots of vodka. They are just partying it up over there at the White House. President Obama's about ready to once again light up the rainbow colors that they shined on the White House when the same-sex marriage decision was reached. They're really partying it up. President Obama played an extra round of golf, probably. Didn't even have like I said earlier, didn't even have the decency to put a tie on when he was coming out to announce his death, to announce the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. I tell you, I'm so done with imbeciles ruling our nation, with imbeciles given credibility, absolute idiots given such power. I'm tired of it. It's on local levels, it's on state levels, it's on federal levels. And then to say that there's not any reason, there's not any substantial reason why anyone would want to take out Scalia. You have to be an absolute fool. I mean, the guy said himself that a man without any enemies really probably wasn't a very good man. And guys, I tell you, I read that quote on my last show, and it's so very, very true. But it does raise into question something. Scalia said himself, a man who has made no enemies is probably not a very good man. So Scalia right there himself sort of admitted, yeah, I have a lot of enemies. And when a man has as many enemies as Scalia, you honestly can't say that there aren't people out there that would have wanted him to die? You honestly mean to tell me that after the Supreme Court decision, there weren't a lot of people praying, or, well, I shouldn't say praying, but considering taking him out, writing to him, telling him how they want to take him out, on Twitter, talking about how they want, it only takes one nut. Although if this was the case, a professional nut.
Caiden Cowger.
Keeping America straight. You're listening to Caiden Cowger, America's next generation of conservative talk radio.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Paraswabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is John Greenhut, the CEO of Paraswabs. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Paraswabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Paraswabs risk-free, call 1-800-678-4817. That's 1-800-678-4817. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-678-4817. That's 1-800-678-4817.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-824-9762. Again, 800-824-9762. That's 800-824-9762. 800-824-9762.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
Call 1-800-352-1597. That's 1-800-352-1597.
Have you ever had this brilliant idea for an invention? I mean, you think that if this idea, if this invention actually gets out in production and is able to be marketed and everything, this will make you millions and millions of dollars. So people have ideas like this all the time. But the problem that they run into is actually getting it out in production and getting it in the stores. Well, let me tell you about my friends at InventHelp. InventHelp has been helping inventors for over 30 years. And what they do is they package inventors' ideas, they provide a patent referral, and then they submit the idea to companies that want to receive new ideas. And some of their clients have included Lowe's, Toys R Us, Home Depot, Target, and Walmart, just to name a few. Their number is 1-800-352-1597. That's 1-800-352-1597. That's 1-800-352-1597. 1597. InventHelp is a proud sponsor of the Caiden Cowger program. Do your teeth ever get stained from drinking a lot of coffee or tea? And then when that happens, you have to make an appointment, you have to go to the dentist, and then they scrape half your gum out along with the plaque. It's horrible. Well, let me tell you about our friends at Paraswabs. Paraswabs is the 5-minute solution to get teeth white without visiting the dentist. Teeth that are stained from coffee or tea will be 2 shades whiter with just one Paraswabs treatment. Paraswabs is clinically proven to whiten teeth as well as caps. They can be reached by calling 1-800-678-4817. That is 1-800-678-4817. That is 1-800-678-4817. That is 1-800-678-4817. Have you ever been involved in an auto accident or had to get your car repaired and then got an expensive bill? For example, you're driving home on a shopping trip you didn't want to go on in the first place, and the next thing you know, traveling at just 65 miles per hour, a stupid deer jumps right out in front of you and whack, hits you right in the front of the car. Yeah, sorry, I had a flashback. Well, let me tell you about our sponsor, Maximum Car Care. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, American Auto Protection has announced a revolutionary low-cost extended service plan that is now available to the general public to save customers thousands of dollars on auto repairs. They can be reached at 1-800-824-9762. That is 1-800-824-9762. That's 1-800-824-9762.
You're listening to WXMB, the Myrtle Beach home for Caiden Cowger.
Caiden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Caiden Cowger program. It's great to have you with us. I mean, guys, I really hate discussing stuff that could be considered conspiratorial because credibility is everything to me. But like I said, mainstream news outlets are saying that this information is confusing, and it is. It's very confusing. And when it's this confusing, unless you're not a realist here, you have to ask the question, was there more to this than we're being told? Was there a thorough investigation that was conducted? When you have a low-class police force that really just observes a population of 1,800 people, can you really trust their judgment? Can you trust them enough to investigate a homicide when you don't bring any of the professionals in? I think that is very risky, and that is really just very unwise, especially considering that Justice Scalia was a hated man by the liberal left. The liberal left absolutely despised Justice Scalia, okay? And, you know, I'm looking up the sheriff's department right now, and because I want to see what people we're dealing with here. Sheriff's department. So you have the okay, I'm looking it up right here. And guys, you should see where the oh my gosh. Yeah, look up I encourage you. Go on to Google Images and look up Mafara, Texas. And look at where the sheriff's department is located. Just look around. It's really just a small little inky-dinky town. Has one nice building, and I'm pretty sure that's the courthouse. I mean, guys, I tell you, this is just very disturbing. And to know that these people, these small town, and smaller than small town, sheriff's department, was responsible for conducting the investigation, along with a U.S. Marshal who was not trained on homicide, responsible for determining if this was a homicide. It's very, very suspicious to me. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, the more I look into this thing, the more suspicious it is. I can't talk. And as I'm talking here, I'm just going, like I'm on Google Images, and I'm just going, like, through the streets of Mafara, just looking at how big this area is. And it's really just an itty-bitty, inky-dinky town. The core of the community, the core of the entire city is just one street. And then, I mean, there's nothing going on. Is there a Walmart even at Mafara? I don't think there is. I tell you, this is amazing. And these people responsible for conducting the investigation. I tell you, okay, I've seen enough. I'm done looking at Google Images. You can look it up yourself. This is amazing. They're unbelievable, and we're trusting these people. I mean, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the experience. And when this was not treated like a homicide, that's very concerning to me. Because I tell you, I don't know. Whatever. Oh, by the way, Donald Trump is still doing well in the polls. Might as well talk about that, since the other thing nothing's going to be done about it. Donald Trump still high in the polls. Trump's at 35%. Cruz is at 18% with Rubio. In third, really Rubio tied with Cruz at 18%, and this is coming out of South Carolina. So Trump is still doing very well. So guys, I want to thank you for listening to us tonight. For more information on the Caiden Cowger program, go to CaidenCowgerProgram.com. And for the latest news exposing the left, go to CowgerNation.com. Thank you, God bless, and God save this nation.